You probably think ancient myths are just stories, fables about forgotten gods and goofy monsters trapped in dusty old books. But what if I told you that's not true? What if I told you these myths never really died? They're just hiding in plain sight, pulling the strings behind your favourite movies, your go-to brands, and even the way you see the world. The tales of epic quests and mythic monsters are still shaping your reality, and you might not even realise it. So let's expose the 5 ancient myths that are still secretly running your life today. 1. The hero's journey. Why every blockbuster feels the same. Let's start with a feeling I bet you know. You're watching a movie. An ordinary person living a normal, maybe even boring life is suddenly thrown into chaos. A strange message arrives, a shocking event unfolds, a mysterious stranger appears and tells them they're destined for something more. They're hesitant at first, but they eventually accept the call. They train with a wise mentor, gather a team of loyal friends, and cross into a new, dangerous world. They face trials, fight enemies, suffer a terrible loss, and in their darkest moment, they dig deep to confront the ultimate evil, save the day, and return home, forever changed. Sound familiar? It should. And that's not just a movie plot, it's a formula. It's an ancient blueprint for storytelling that the scholar Joseph Campbell famously analysed and named the monomyth, or the hero's journey. He showed how this exact structure appears in myths from nearly every culture across thousands of years. It's the story of Odysseus, the story of King Arthur, the story of Buddha. It's a powerful pattern of growth and transformation that resonates deeply with us. And today, it's Hollywood's most valuable playbook. Think about the biggest stories of our time. It's Luke Skywalker, a farm boy who gets a desperate message from a droid and is mentored by an old hermit named Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's Harry Potter, an unloved kid living under the stairs who receives a letter inviting him to a world of magic. It's Frodo Baggins, a quiet hobbit who must leave his peaceful home to destroy a great evil. It's Katniss Everdeen, forced from her poor district into a deadly televised game. It's Neo in The Matrix, who follows the White Rabbit and is unplugged from his reality by Morpheus. It's even Tony Stark, a selfish billionaire who has a near-death experience in a cave and emerges as Iron Man. The hero's journey is so effective because it mirrors the journey of our own lives. We all start in an ordinary world. We all get calls to adventure, a new job, a new relationship, a personal crisis, and we all face trials that force us to grow. This myth gives us a roadmap for life's challenges. It tells us that an ordinary person can face extraordinary circumstances and come out stronger. It's an endlessly adaptable story that we'll never get tired of because on some level, it's our own. And Hollywood knows it, selling it to you again and again in 1,000 different costumes because they know you'll always buy a ticket for a story you already know by heart. 2. The gods. Among Us, your obsession with flawed superhumans. When you hear the word God, you might picture a perfect, all-knowing being. But the gods of ancient Greece and Scandinavia, they were anything but. They were basically a dysfunctional family of superpowered celebrities fueled by jealousy, vanity, betrayal, and a whole lot of drama. Zeus, king of the gods, was constantly cheating on his wife, Hera. So Hera spent most of her time plotting cruel, elaborate revenge on his lovers and their children. Then you have the Norse gods. Odin, the All-Father, was a grim, brooding figure obsessed with knowing and stopping his own prophesied death. And of course, there was Thor, the mighty but arrogant god of thunder, and his complicated blood brother Loki, the scheming god of mischief. In the myths, their relationship wasn't simple sibling rivalry. It was a complex dance of love, envy, and betrayal that repeatedly threw their world into chaos. These weren't just stories about good versus evil, they were epic sagas about family drama and the very human flaws of immortal beings. Now, fast forward to today. Does that sound familiar? It's the exact formula powering some of the biggest entertainment franchises on the planet. The Marvel Cinematic Universe didn't just adapt Thor and Loki, it built a multi-billion-dollar empire on their ancient, dysfunctional relationship. We watch Thor, the hero, learn humility, while Loki, the brilliant trickster, constantly shifts between villain and anti-hero. Their story, a direct repackaging of old Norse myths, has captivated millions. But it goes deeper than just comic books. This myth now fuels our entire celebrity culture. We've built a new pantheon of gods, movie stars, musicians, tech billionaires, and influencers. We put them on a pedestal and call them icons, but what we're really obsessed with are their flaws. We follow their breakups, their scandals, and their public meltdowns with the same fascination the ancients had for the squabbles on Mount Olympus. And shows like Game of Thrones drew heavily on these same mythological cycles of power, exile, and destiny, giving us flawed noble houses battling for control, just like the gods of old. We are recreating the ancient pantheon every single day. We crave stories about powerful beings who are just as messy and fallible as we are. It makes power seem relatable and provides endless, addictive entertainment. The gods never left. They just moved from Mount Olympus to Hollywood and Instagram. 3. The monster in the mirror. What ancient terrors say about us. In the ancient world, monsters weren't just fantasy. They were powerful symbols of everything humanity feared. Born from the darkness at the edge of the map, they represented the chaos of nature, the wrath of the gods, and the dangers of human pride. Take Medusa, the gorgon with snakes for hair whose gaze could turn a man to stone. In the most famous version of her story, told by the Roman poet Ovid, she was a beautiful maiden who was assaulted in the temple of Athena. The goddess, in a fit of cruel injustice, punished her by turning her into a monster. In this telling, Medusa became a symbol of a world where divine justice was terrifying and unpredictable. Earlier Greek sources, however, simply say she and her Gorgon sisters were born as monsters. Then there was the Minotaur, a creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull, locked away in a labyrinth to devour human sacrifices. He was a symbol of our own monstrous appetites. The beast that lives within us, hidden away, but never truly gone. And in the sea, you had monsters like Scylla, a beast with multiple heads who would snatch sailors from their ships as they passed, representing the terrifying and unavoidable perils of the unknown ocean. These monsters seem like relics of a more superstitious time, but they aren't. They're alive and well because their symbolism is incredibly adaptable. They've become mirrors that reflect our modern anxieties. Look at Medusa. For centuries, she was simply a symbol of terror. But today, her meaning is a battlefield. On one hand, her image is still used to demonize powerful women, a misogynistic trope suggesting they're monstrous and need to be silenced. Yet at the same time, she has been reclaimed by many as a powerful feminist icon. In this light, her terrifying gaze isn't a curse, but a weapon of self-defense. Her story is reframed as a victim turning her trauma into power. Her petrifying stare, a symbol of defiance. It's why the Versace brand uses her head as its logo, to signal luxury, power, and alluring rebellion. This is the hidden power of mythic monsters. They are so deeply embedded in our collective imagination that we can constantly reinterpret them to process our current fears. The Minotaur becomes a metaphor for feeling trapped in a corporate maze. The Sphinx, who guarded Thebes with a riddle, is reimagined as a symbol for the importance of listening in an age of constant mansplaining. These ancient terrors are living symbols we use to understand our own modern monstrosities, our anxieties about power, gender, and the hidden beasts within our own society. 4. The Amazonian ideal, how a myth was flipped to change the world. In the myths of ancient Greece, no group was more feared by the patriarchal society of Athens than the Amazons. They were a mythical tribe of warrior women living at the edge of the known world. In Greek art and stories, they were almost never the heroes. They were the ultimate other, fierce, barbaric opponents for Greek heroes like Heracles and Achilles to defeat. They represented a world turned upside down, a rejection of the natural order where men ruled and women were confined to the home. For an Athenian man, an Amazon, a woman who was a warrior and a leader was a symbol of chaos that had to be conquered. The myth of the Amazons was basically propaganda. It was a story the patriarchy told itself to reinforce its own values. The defeat of the Amazons symbolized the triumph of Greek civilization over barbarism, of order over chaos, of men over women. For thousands of years, that was their legacy, the dangerous woman who had to be put in her place. Now think about what the word Amazon means to you today. Chances are you think of one character, Wonder Woman. In the 20th century, this ancient symbol of an anti-patriarchal threat was deliberately resurrected and completely transformed. The Amazon warrior was reimagined, not as a barbarian to fear, but as a hero to admire. Wonder Woman, an Amazon princess, became a global icon of justice, peace, and feminism. This wasn't an accident, it was a conscious act of mythological alchemy. Her creators took the very things that made the Amazons threatening to the ancient Greeks, their strength, their independence, their female-led society, and turned them into their greatest virtues. The Amazonian ideal was flipped on its head. Instead of representing a threat to civilization, they now represented a better, more enlightened form of it. Wonder Woman doesn't come to our world to conquer it. She comes to save it from its own self-destructive masculine aggression. This transformation shows how myths cannot just reflect culture, but actively change it. A story once used to uphold patriarchal values was repurposed into a tool to challenge them. The Amazon myth now serves as a foundation for a modern story about female empowerment that has inspired millions. Strong female heroes, from Captain Marvel to Katniss Everdeen, are part of a powerful tradition of heroines that this reimagined Amazon ideal helped build. This ancient myth, once a tool of suppression, is now a relentless force for change, proving that the stories we choose to tell have the power to redefine our world. 5. The brand as archetype. The ancient stories you buy into. For our final myth, let's look at the stories so deeply embedded in our minds that we don't even see them as stories. They are the fundamental patterns of personality that the psychiatrist Carl Jung called archetypes. These are the universal, mythic characters that live in our collective unconscious: the hero, the magician, the ruler, the jester, the innocent, the explorer, the sage. You've met them all because they're the building blocks of every myth and fairy tale ever told. The hero is driven to prove their worth through courage. The magician wants to make dreams come true through knowledge. The explorer craves freedom and seeks a better world. The innocent just wants to be happy. The ruler desires control and creates order from chaos. These aren't just characters. They are blueprints for our deepest needs and motivations. For thousands of years, these archetypes lived in stories told around a campfire. Today, they live on Madison Avenue. They are one of the most powerful tools in modern marketing because the most successful companies have built their entire identity not around a product but around an ancient mythic archetype. They're selling you a story about yourself. Think about it. Why do you buy Nike? You're not just buying shoes, you're buying into the hero archetype. Every single ad tells a story of overcoming adversity and pushing your limits. Their slogan, "Just do it," is a call to action for the hero inside you. They are selling courage. Why do people line up for the latest Apple product? Because Apple is the magician. Their product launches are presented like magical events. They promise to transform your world and give you tools that feel like they're from the future. They are selling transformation. Disney is the innocent, selling happiness, nostalgia, and a world where dreams come true. Rolex is the ruler, selling not just a watch, but status, control, and success. The North Face and Jeep are the explorer, selling freedom, rugged individualism, and the thrill of adventure. This is one of the most subtle ways myths shape your life. Every time you choose a brand you connect with, you're often subconsciously aligning yourself with an ancient archetype. You're buying a piece of a story that helps you build your own identity. These companies know we're all looking for meaning, for a story to be part of, and they've realized they don't need to invent new ones. They just need to tap into the timeless myths that have always been there, waiting in the deepest parts of your mind. So from the movies you watch to the products you buy, these ancient stories are everywhere. They're like an invisible operating system running in the background of our society. The more you learn to see them, the more you'll understand the world around you. Which of these myths surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed uncovering these hidden truths, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that secretly shape our world. Conclusion. Myths aren't just old stories. They are living, breathing cultural forces. They're the DNA of human storytelling, adapting and replicating from one generation to the next. They are the frameworks we use to understand heroism, the symbols we use to process our fears, and the archetypes we use to build our own identities. They're in your movie queue, your shopping cart, and your social media feed. You may have thought you left the ancient world behind, but the truth is, you've been living in it all along.